Mama, we hit the lotto. I'm David, a 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything trademarks, patents, copyrights, as well as trade secrets. Now, today, man, today is an interesting one. Again, I tell people all the time that this IP is extremely valuable. And typically, I would talk about those four big ones that I stated above: trademarks, copyrights, patents, trade secrets. But today, we're talking about domain names. And I actually have a couple domain names that I'm kind of waiting to use for the right time. But it seems like a trademark attorney out of New York actually purchased the domain name, I think back in 2020, Harriswalz, when Walz and Harris were not obviously presidential and vice presidential candidates, but were still in their respective states, California, as well as I think Tim Walz is from New York. He bought the domain name Harriswalz, and it's looking like he's going to probably cash in on that domain name. He bought it for $8.99. So $9 he bought the domain name Harriswalz, and he's going to cash in. He's looking at least $15,000. That's what he's trying to get from it. So we all know, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, that Biden stepped down for the 2024 presidential run, and Kamala Harris stepped up. Now, obviously, if Kamala Harris stepped up to be the presidential candidate on the Democrat side, then she needs a running mate. She needs a vice president. And she selected Tim Walz out of Minnesota, the Minnesota governor, I think, which so now you have the Harris-Walz campaign, and it seems like this trademark attorney who back in 2020, man, I need to get him in. We need to go get some lottery tickets. I need to cash in so I don't have to be an attorney no more. But nonetheless, seems like he's looking to cash in. He purchased for $9. We're going to take a look at this ABC article, and they're going to talk through it, and we're going to, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts, but we're going to get off into it. And he bought this thing for $9, harriswalz.com. And it seems like Kamala, they may want to purchase that from him, unless they go with something else. But obviously, Harriswalz, $15,000 seems like a bargain in my opinion. But that's essentially what's going on here. So before we get off into the article, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button as I'm trying to bring you guys these current events. Again, this IP is extremely popular and profitable. Breaking news: Taylor Swift concert and canceled for 2 people arrested for a planned terror attack. That's crazy. But a trademark lawyer, so that's the thing. A trademark lawyer sold the domain name ClintonKane.com in 2016. So it seems like this is what this guy do. He sold Clinton Kane in 2016. I'll be interested in seeing what he got from that. Now he's looking to cash in on harriswalz.com in 2024. And this is an interesting thing that I do want to bring to you guys' attention, especially since I just got done doing a trademark video. In trademark law, you have to actually be using, you can't just sit on trademarks. You have to actually be using the logo or essentially the trademark term in commerce. You have to be using it. And to the extent that you are not using it, then essentially it goes abandoned. But if you are using it, then it can last forever. However, with domain names, it isn't like that. You can just get a domain name and sit on it. I mean, actually, the guy who owns davidspears.com, I tried to get that, and he's like, and he has done nothing with it. Has owned it for since the 90s when the internet came into being. I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to use this. He was like, yeah. First of all, he's like, that's cool that your name is David Spears as well, but I'm just kind of sitting on it. I may use it, I may not use it. So he's essentially just sitting on it, not using it, waiting for the right time, I guess, which I would imagine if he bought it 30 years ago, 05, 15, almost 30 years ago, the guy, I would imagine that he's approaching 60, 70 years old. But again, apparently one day may be a good day for him. So again, I'm saying all that to say that with domain names, you can buy domain names and just sit on them. Now you have to essentially pay the renewal fee, which is, I think, like $30 or $40, extremely manageable. You can't do that with trademarks. You can't do that with domain names. And it seems like this trademark lawyer, obviously, I would imagine that he knows the law. He has done that and is looking to cash in, it seems like, for the second time. So a trademark lawyer who bought the domain name Clinton Kane. Who is Kane? I'm not a big name guy or politic guy. Obviously, I know Bill or Clinton or Hillary. I'm assuming that's what that is. I'm not sure who Kane is. Let me know in the chat who is Kane. So Jeremy Green Ecke took a chance and purchased the website harriswalz.com for $9 in 2020, when then Senator Kamala Harris of California was seeking the Democratic national nomination for president. Okay, so it seems like this was back when she was running for president. Obviously, we know Joe Biden got it back then, but he still purchased it. He's been sitting on it this whole time for 4 years. I just tried to grab her name and all the heartland governors I could think of. He recalled Monday in an interview with the AP, Associated Press. 4 years later, and obviously we know that this article came out just before Kamala Harris selected Tim Walz, because it's saying if Harris selects, we all know that she actually selected him just recently here. 4 years later, if Harris selects Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, trademark attorney Etchy could be looking at a payday. He is willing to sell it in a slate of over a dozen other Harris websites for $15,000. So he's saying, hey, we can settle out of court for $15,000, and I'm going to give you a couple other domain names that's associated or tied with Harris. That's crazy. This is not a new scenario for the 36-year-old trademark lawyer in New York, city of Brooklyn borough. Etchy is a cyber squatter, man. He seemed to say they say the name so derogatory. I mean, this is just a business at this point. And as long as it's not illegal, which is not, he's making the most of it. A person who buys a domain name with someone else's name or brand for very little money, hoping to sell it to that person or brand for a large profit in the subsequent months or years. It is also called domain investing, given it can reap significant rewards. Again, if you guys haven't, this is the term cyber squatting, as they just broke it down so eloquently and gave that definition. If you guys are not doing this, you probably should consider it, because it can be profitable. I would imagine it'd be interesting to see what he sold that Clinton Kane went for back in 2016, but it seems like the guy is at it again. So let's kind of finish this article out here. In 2011, so it seems like he bought that 5 years ago, or 5 years before 2016, 5 years before Hillary Clinton selected Virginia Senator Tim Kaine. Okay, so at the time, I guess Tim was a senator in Virginia, to be her running mate in the presidential race. Etchy, then known as Jeremy Peter Green, before he got, I'm not even going to go down that route. So it seems like he got married and changed his name. Okay. Let's see. After the former Secretary of State made the pick, the squatter offered it to the campaign for a hefty return. They declined. So he sold it for $15,000 to a digital marketing company that turned out to be the Trump campaign. Oh man, Trump been getting over for a long time. The website pushed anti-Clinton news with paid for by Donald Trump. It seemed like Donald J. Trump may be a suitor for this one as well, since he's still in it. How many people think that Kamala Harris is not going to buy it, and Donald J. Trump, some type of organization or Trump campaign, is going to buy Harriswalz? Let me know in the comment section. Do you guys think that Donald J. Trump is going to buy this thing for $15,000, or do you think Harris is going to buy it? Kamala Harris is going to buy it. That'd be interesting. That's crazy. This is my first time reading this article, so you guys get my authentic thoughts on this one. So Harris spent the weekend interviewing a half dozen potential running mates, including Walz. Like she interviewed a couple other names that we're not going to get off into. The people spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss private campaign deliberations. She is said to be making her decision imminently, and obviously we know that she made it. So we're not going to my perspective. So it seems like, man, he found his new hustle. He found his new hustle. We're not going to go off into it, but what do you guys think? It seems like after this article, I wouldn't have disclosed it, because it seems like he may have a little bit more competition next time around, based on it seems like he has done this twice now successfully over the period of 8 years. So I would imagine next time around, it probably will be some more suitors for that. I guess that domain name that he bought for $8.99 back in 2020, and I'm not sure how much he paid for the Clinton domain name back in 2011. But it seems like he just cashed out $15,000 to the campaign that's ran by Donald Trump back in 2011. And it seems like he may end up cashing in either to Harris or to the Trump campaign again in 2024, which is crazy. You guys have to let me know in the comment section, who do you think is going to buy this trademark? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Let me know in the comment section. Please hit this like button and the subscribe button if you like this type of content. And I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna try to come back with who ended up buying this. So stay tuned for that as well.